So here I'm with David Beer, came from the Wharton University and write a famous book called Location is Still Everything. And David delivered a speech this morning and had a very good feedback from our audience. And this afternoon I took David to youzhu.com and had a visit of our industrial park. So now I'm going to interview David some questions. Hi David.
Hey James, how are you?
So you turned yourself from the professor in the university into the entrepreneur. So what's your feeling about your current life?
Well, the current life is quite busy and quite exciting. I think even when you're a professor, you're kind of an entrepreneur because you have to create your own ideas and have people accept those ideas. So as an entrepreneur in the business world, you have to create products and services. So there's some parallel, I think. So I feel like I'm going back to the start, like when I was a PhD student. I have to work very hard to get to the next stage.
So students do have to pay the tuition fee in their starting life.
Yeah.
So is there any certain kind of advice you want to give to the entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think two pieces of advice. Number one is really work on something that you understand that's a personal pain point. So not always the case, but I think most of the successful entrepreneurs that I saw and entrepreneurs that we learn about, read about, usually they build they build products or services for themselves.
Okay.
Number one. So I think for example, Steve Jobs, he built the product that he wanted for himself. So start with your own personal pain point, your own personal passion. And then number two, I think, is to always be very tenacious and try to learn something from everybody.
Okay.
Everybody can teach you something. So one of my favorite friends and entrepreneurs, he always says, I know nothing. Even though he actually knows a lot. I respect him a lot. But I think to be humble in your knowledge and to follow your pain point.
So it's your second time to be hired.
Yes.
And second time to get in touch with lots of makers, entrepreneurs of hair.
Yes.
So what's the feeling about coming back, and what's the feeling about talking with small entrepreneurs like Mr. DP this afternoon and our colleague?
Yeah. So I think two things. So number one, in the 1 year, a lot happens. Higher time is very fun. 1 year in higher time, a lot happens. So since I came back, I think I've seen a lot of change. I've seen new stuff happening. I think number two, diversifying into new things. So big push obviously into the home, big push into IoT. So some activities this year that I didn't see last year, and also I think a real acceleration. Obviously everything happening with HCH and so on.
So have you felt the influence of the 人单合一 model?
Yeah, the 人单合一 model I think is a great model. I mean, everybody can be an entrepreneur, right? I think especially in the digital economy, because now you and I, if we want to start a business, selling tea online, we can do it. We can use the existing platform, we can use the infrastructure, we can use delivery, payment. 10 or 20 years ago, the entrepreneur has to maybe build everything for themselves. So it's never been easier to be an entrepreneur. And I think the philosophy of the 人单合一 is that everybody can contribute something. If I give you the platform, you can contribute something. So I think it's a great philosophy.
Okay, so HCH Ventures organized today's event, and when we had a launch with the electrical vehicle, with the people who are doing the decoration, closet, stuff.
Yeah.
So we, as I introduced, HCH Ventures connected with all the hair industry resources, and as the incubator, as accelerator, not only invest, not only find the money for them, but also use our industry resources to accelerate their success.
Yes.
So do you think that is a correct direction? Do you think that's going to be very helpful for not only domestic entrepreneurs in China, but also the entrepreneurs in the States, in other parts of the world?
Yeah, I mean, I believe very much in two things. One is an ecosystem or a network of resources for people to help other people. So sometimes we think investment is just capital, but capital, it's just a small piece.
Yeah.
So the first thing I think, providing a network that everybody can access and tap into is a great idea. The related idea is you don't want to reinvent something. You don't want to discover something that somebody else is already doing. So if you have a network, then a network gives you an ability to be more aware of what is being developed, more aware of your own capabilities, and more aware of what are the capabilities that you need to access. So I like that direction. I like the idea also of, as we mentioned, Mr. Lee P, basically showing the success stories from within Hire that everybody can learn from. And maybe sometimes it may be painful, but a good thing also, what were the things that didn't work that we could adjust or do differently? I think those to me are the two big points.
Thank you very much. So what's your big dream in the future? What's your ideal life looks like, in your own mind?
My own mind. So my ideal life is to have a time, to spend with my family and my friends, the people I care about, and basically to enjoy what's good in the world, to be able to travel, to meet people, to see what's happening. It's a kind of learning. So always be learning and enjoying, I think.
So you do enjoy the process and the result of turning yourself into the entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, because I think being an entrepreneur is kind of an extension of being a professor. And some of the professors I really respect and admire actually had a second or a third career. So not my expertise, but you may know James. So the most successful and famous hedge fund manager in history, Jim Simmons in New York City, actually was a mathematics professor. And he changed his career. He went into finance, and he was extremely successful. I don't think I'm not anywhere near his level, but I think sometimes you need to change. You need to reinvent yourself. And for me, this is not so much reinvention because professor is a kind of an entrepreneur, but with low risk.
And the last question is congratulations for your last book. Location is Still Everything. It's very popular in China. So I heard you are about to write your second book.
Yes, working on it.
Can you, introduce a little bit more on what's your thinking now in your mind?
Yeah, so the second book, so the first book was about the physical world and the digital world. The second book is more about a framework or a method for creating ideas and companies in the digital economy. So what are the 4 things that we need to think about to deliver outsized success? And how is that playbook or that approach, how is it different to what we used to think about in the old economy? So I'll give one example that we talked about today, the idea of developing bonds and connections as opposed to a brand. It's a much more powerful thing, and now it's a thing you can do because of this technology, because of connectivity.
Okay, so to be the pioneer in the Internet of Things era,
yes,
what's your suggestion for the company?
So I think to really be the pioneer, 2 things would be very important. One is that design and aesthetic is still really critical. Like just to put some technology into the teapot, is not that great. The product needs to look beautiful, it needs to feel beautiful, so it needs to be aesthetic as well as functional. I think some of the big mistakes people make with IoT is you develop a product, it actually just doesn't look very good. So it's got to look good, it's got to feel good. Number 2, to start with the products or the services, mainly products I guess, that really solve an actual pain point. So don't just put technology into the table because you can. Put technology into something that truly improves the functional, emotional benefit of using that product. Like we were saying earlier, sometimes you go into a hotel, there's too much technology, it doesn't work, you can't find the lights, you can't close the curtain. That's making my life more difficult, not making it easier. So make it beautiful and make it solve a real problem.
So you will come to China very often, right? Obviously,
Yes.
David has been awarded as HCH Ventures mentor.
Right.
And if you have any business startup ideas, related to the retailing and the consumer business, please do contact us. And David can give you a hand on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I wish
Thanks,
you could
James.
come to Qingdao very often.
Yes, I'll come and enjoy the good seafood and Qingdao beer. So,
Thank
James,
you. Here we are with David Beer in our tea house. Thank you very much. Thank you.